Department of Otorhinolaryngology, National University Hospital.
Good afternoon. I haven't heard my name pronounced like that for a long time. They always call me Lynn. Alright, so I'm Lynn and I'm from the National University Health System. It's not a new hospital. It's the merging of the National University Hospital and the National University of Singapore. So I'm talking on hearing loss today, and I want to give special thanks also to Yuan Ping and to Dr. Lin Lim, whom I worked closely with for this. So I think I've heard a lot of figures already, okay, but it is, there are definite figures for hearing loss, which is that if you're over the age of 60, you actually have a 40% of hearing loss. So all of us, yeah, we're going to reach 60. Some of us are 60. And so 4 in 10 chance of hearing loss. Okay, and that's a fact. And we know that the older Singaporeans will be doubling by 2030. And why is it that it is such a big figure, but we've heard nothing? Right? You hardly hear of hearing loss, right? You hear of cancers, you hear of conjoined twins, which are so rare, but you do not hear of hearing loss. And it is because it is actually a hidden, very silent disease. And this group of people do not advocate for themselves. Alright, so you will find that as caregivers, as a hospital, as a medical personnel, we should try to advocate for these people. And they are very, very underserved right now. And it is, I think if we can help, it can really impact a big percentage of the population, okay, especially with the aging population. So the medical term for age-related hearing loss is presbyacusis. And previously it was thought that presbyacusis starts only about 60 years of age. But now we know that from 50 years of age, actually it starts to set in. And I actually also did a quick study in about 40 of my medical students who passed through my posting. And they actually had a 20% of the 40 students had hearing loss, and they are only about 25. Alright, so what is this? Is it early aging? I think it's a noise-induced hearing loss, alright? But noise-induced hearing loss quickly actually merged into presbyacusis. The way that it is, the injury is the same to the cochlea, to the hair cells. So it's the same. And Singapore is very, very noisy. Okay, so I think we are at higher risk actually of getting some form of hearing loss earlier than 60 years of age. So the impact is that everything negative, right? So you cannot work as well. Now the government wants you to work till you're 100. So it's very hard. It's very hard if you're not hearing well because you can't find a proper job. You can't find a job that you really want to, and even if you want to work, your colleagues may not want to work with you. And let's say socially, it is also difficult. The people who are not hearing very well, they tend to speak loudly, yeah, and because it's a feedback, they need to hear themselves. And they may turn on the TV very loud. They may shout at you over the phone, not because they're upset with you. Okay, but all this makes it difficult for them to actually be in social situations. And we know that in social situations also there's a lot of noise in the background, like in a restaurant, in a meeting, or out with friends. It makes the hearing even worse. And so they're not able to actually function there, and slowly they withdraw. And so this becomes a huge social problem. Okay, if you actually go to your adults in the family and ask why is it they do not go out so much, they avoid public places and all that, it is because a lot of times they find it really hard to hear. Right? They are still walking, you can still walk with your cane, but you find it very irritating to be out with a lot of noise. So it has been proven. It was quite interesting just now to see Dr. Lim present the slide, because I was actually feeling really bad that hearing there is no grade A level of evidence. Then I saw that the others all had only D and C and some choosing D. So I'm quite happy now because I'm highest level. So there is actually literature that has shown that without hearing aids and if you have hearing loss, there is functional decline, dementia, depression, anxiety, paranoia. Yeah, as the minister was saying, maybe paranoia. You'll see people trying to kill you, get you out of the house. Yeah. Okay. Decreased social activity and also reduced safety. So in the States, it's interesting, when they talk about reduced safety, they worry about not hearing the dog going after them. Alright, but that's not so often here. So, and they worry about, because there are a lot of heaters in the house and all that, they worry about the fire alarms going off and not hearing them. But for our elderly, not hearing maybe cars coming is important, and not hearing warning signals and signs, and even the beeping when you drive the car and all that, the beeping of the car. So treatment, why is it important to screen for hearing loss? Firstly, many hearing impaired adults, but they do not know it. Okay, so that's why screening is so important. And if you screen, there is proper treatment and there is proper rehabilitation, which is all already available. So there's something doable. So the primary care physicians and healthcare providers in the community actually have a very, very important role to actually help to screen, to diagnose, to treat, and then refer appropriately. And it should not stop there. When the patient actually gets the hearing aid or the rehabilitation, when they come back to you in the community, you must make sure to follow up and to encourage them to continue using it and to help them through difficulties and to try to solve it. If not, the hearing aid will become a white elephant. Some people go through 10 sets of hearing aids, right? So the objectives, I think we all know this. Just want to maybe highlight the last one. Many people think that for hearing loss when you are 50, it's all due to age-related hearing loss. But I need to emphasize that it can be due to tumors. It could be a hearing nerve tumor. It can grow in the brain, and it could lead to more serious side effects. It could be an infection which could have been easily treated, but has not been treated because it have not been brought to the attention of a doctor. And it could be something like Meniere's disease, which is together with imbalance, with a ringing sound in the ears, and hearing loss. So there are conditions which need treatment in the elderly. It's not just age-related hearing loss. So the hearing pathway, I'm just going to skip this slide. So the standard hearing test, when you come to the ENT doctor, is actually a pure tone audiogram in a soundproof room by audiologists, trained professionals. So note that it's a soundproof room, right? It's not a sound-treated room. It's not just any room with a wall. It's a soundproof room, and professionals who actually administer this test will get more accurate results. And it's a pure tone audiogram where you actually put on headphones 1 year at each time, and you're given different frequencies of sound at different levels of intensity. Okay, so that is the sort of gold standard. The really gold standard, of course, we have to knock you out, put you to sleep, and do brainwave testing so that we know you're not malingering. Yeah, we get that sometimes with some well-meaning army boys. So the press B accuses. Okay, so age-related hearing loss. You can see on this slide, this figure B. What are these? It's actually an electron microscope of your inner ear hair cells and your outer ear hair cells. So they're very pretty, right? The outer hair cells, a V, and then the inner hair cells, the white ones. When you're young, when they're old, everything starts falling. So now it looks like very nice, fresh grass, but when you're older, it's like windswept, stepped on. Okay, so everything just sort of degenerates. So for age-related hearing loss, the frequencies that are actually lost first are actually the high-pitch hearing loss. So you can see 2K to 8K. I don't have a pointer, but it's fine. So 2 kilohertz to 8 kilohertz. And actually now we are actually progressing faster. This was maybe like 20 years ago. The slides used to look like this. Okay, but now you would find that even at 60, many of the adults at the low frequencies, they also have a 40 decibel hearing loss. Okay, then it goes down like that. And why do many adults think that they are still okay? It's because they have already learned speech and language. So unlike the child, if they are actually not hearing well, they will come with a speech delay, bad reading abilities, bad academics, and then we are very, we react on them very fast. But for these adults, they just keep quiet. They pretend not to be very involved. They lip read. They're very good. My patient always insists that they can hear. So I will start doing this to them in the clinic, and suddenly there's silence. No conversation anymore because they cannot lip read. All right. So if you need to be so close to somebody to lip read, it actually really reduces, right? Whatever you can do. And of course, they have a huge difficulty over the telephone because the telephone, the sound quality and that is not so good. So they have a huge problem over the telephone. And now countries and all that. So not being able to use the phone actually cuts them off from families and friends also. The severity of hearing loss is, we say this is an audiogram, so we have on the y-axis, this vertical axis, is the loudness of sound. To be normal, we need to hear at 20 decibels, so very high up. You know where the tap is dripping. To have normal hearing, you can go test yourself tonight. Huh? So see whether you can hear the tap dripping. If the tap is dripping and you can hear, then it's 20 decibels. So many adults tell me, no, I do not have hearing loss. I can hear the telephone ringing perfectly well. So just look at where the telephone is ringing at. At severe hearing loss, you still can hear your telephone, right? So you have severe hearing loss, if you can hear your telephone, it's possible. And if you actually look at the consonants of speech, the F, S, and TH are heard at 20 to 30 decibels. That is nearly perfect hearing. You need nearly perfect hearing to hear. And the vowels like A, E, I, O, U's and all those are heard at about 40. So even mild hearing loss, you can lose already many vowels and many consonants. So if you hear vowels, you hear mama, papa, okay, cat, dog, okay, you may not hear the T because T is a consonant that has to be heard at 20 decibels. So you hear so cash and cat and cats and catch, everything is the same to you. It's just a CA, alright, CA. Alright, and some people tell me, I can hear, the person can say mama, papa, so cannot be hearing loss. But mama and papa can be said by a deaf person, you know why? Because they just need to, and the next thing that comes out is alright, so mama can be said by somebody with severe hearing loss. Does not mean anything. So what I'm trying to tell you is you need to screen and you need to test before you know you have hearing loss. It is severely underestimated. So we sometimes do a disservice to the patients by doing poor testing because it gives them a false sense that they are okay. So many of these adults may go to a community center and maybe sometimes, I don't know who is in the audience here, but I just want to just let you know that we have to be careful because some people just want to sell hearing aids, alright? So there may be free testing done sometimes. If it's done properly, it's great, it's fine. But if it's not done properly, it's actually very bad. And if you just use a normal audiometer and just screen without soundproofing or sound treating or the rooms and all that with an untrained personnel, you may actually, the test will say, they will put it at a very high level, so they will put their pass at 40 decibels or 50 decibels, right? Okay, so to them, that's a pass, but you know, I've shown you that you miss so much at 50 decibels. So this elderly adult is very happy. He comes back after free lunch and free everything at the community screen, and then he gets a paper that says he has actually passed his hearing test. So for the next few years, although the doctor tries to tell me he has a hearing loss, as shown by the doctor's test, he insists that he has passed his hearing test because of that piece of paper, okay, from the community screening. So we need to screen properly. We really need to screen properly so as not to mislead in a way. So the CPG recommends, the recommendation of tools. We cannot use the same soundproof room with an audiologist all the time. It's too expensive and we do not have the facilities out in the community like that. So the next thing we have to do is to choose the next best tools, right? And for hearing, it is something which is supported, screening in the community. It is actually supported by both the USA and the Canadian task force, right, for preventive health care. And and this is supported also by the CPG guidelines. It's a grade B, and we have 3 tools, and they're very simple to use. The ENT surgeons are surgeons after all. You know, we can deal with very simple things. All right, so very simple. Single global screening question, just one question, okay, about hearing loss. The next one is just a simple questionnaire on 10 questions, and the last one, the audioscope, is a scope which we can look into the ear, which gives sounds at the same time. Okay, so if you fail any of this question, any of this three, you should actually do refer for a hearing, more formal hearing test. The single global screening question is easy. It's do you or your family think that you may have hearing loss? And previously it used to be, do you think that you may have a hearing loss, right? Without the or family, but you know people are always in denial. So if you ask, do you? The yield is very low. If you add or your family, it increases a lot. Okay, So that is actually a better question. And it is recommended as a first screening tool for hearing impairment. But still, it may miss a mild hearing impairment, which means somebody with 20% or 25% of hearing loss may still be missed by this question. This is the second tool, and this is a single questionnaire of 10 questions. It's a hearing handicap inventory for the elderly. And, okay, do you see that it's a handicap, right? But we are so careful, you know, it's so political in a sense, and the deaf culture sometimes is so strong that it needs professionals. We do not even dare to tell our patients that hearing is a handicap. It is classified under World Health Organization guidelines as a handicap. Okay, but because we try to be politically correct and all that, we sometimes do a disservice. We do not emphasize it enough. Okay, it is a handicap, okay, in every day of your life. Okay, you do not actually try to rehabilitate. And so this hearing handicap inventory was first used to measure handicap, but it has been found to be very useful also in screening. And so the questions are actually very simple. It's daily kind of thing. So do you feel embarrassed when meeting new people, frustrated, okay, and when somebody speaks in a whisper, it's difficult to hear. You have difficulty visiting, socializing with friends, relatives, and religious services, attending religious services, arguments and all that, listening to the TV, radio difficulties. Alright, so in a restaurant. Okay, so all these questions, they can be scored. And if you say yes, it is 4 points. If you say sometimes, it is 2 points. If you say no, it's 0 points. Anything which is 1, even 1, 2, 3 is actually abnormal. A score of 1, 2, and 3 is abnormal, but we do not usually, we're not so strict. Okay, so we take a cutoff of maybe 8. Not the last line. A cutoff of 8, because we know that if it's a score of 8, there is a chance that this person has moderate hearing loss. That is not even mild hearing loss. Alright, if you want to catch moderate hearing loss, you would have to have a score less than 8. Okay? So this questionnaire is completed in 5 minutes. It can be administered by, let's say you're a general practitioner, it can be administered by the nurse at the front counter even before they come to you. The single global question also. And so that you can, it cuts down the time, alright? And it reflects functional hearing impairment, not the audiometric severity. Okay, but it is good because it is also a gauge of how motivated this patient would be to actually seek rehabilitation for hearing loss. The last tool, so the first tool, one was a single question, one was the questionnaire, and those two were subjective. So we want to have an objective measure also, okay, to complete this, and so that they tie in with each other. The audioscope screening, this is actually a handheld device. It's not available in Singapore. I have actually, I think the Ministry of Health have actually used it in a recent pilot project, and we brought it in specifically first time for use here. But in America, it's being used for screening programs. And if you take a look, it looks very like an otoscope, right? You can actually look through that eyepiece and into the ear canal, so you can see whether it's wax infection or eardrum problems. If you are a general practitioner, if you are actually maybe a nurse practitioner or somebody helping with the screening, but not medically trained, it still allows you to do the hearing test because you press a button on this and it would give sounds at a certain frequencies and at a certain level. So you can say you want to be strict and test at 20 decibels. There's a button for 20 decibels. Then there's another button for 30 decibels, another one for 40 decibels. And it's to every ear it takes less than 2-3 minutes. Alright? It is a, you press, it's quite idiot proof. You just press a button and it goes by itself. And all that you have to see is whether there's a light flashing and the patient to also put up the hand if they can hear. Okay? So it's very simple. So I would say these 3 tools together should not take more than 15 minutes of your time. Alright? And if half of it is done by somebody outside, it does not take much time. Okay, so the first clinical trial studying the long-term effectiveness of treatment after hearing impairment is undergoing. Okay, so we know we must screen for hearing loss, and the effectiveness of screening and all that needs to be longer term, but it is actually ongoing. And I would like to appeal also, if we do start such a study in Singapore, it would be really, really nice if some of the, all of you in private practice or in the community or in hospitals could actually join us to actually do this study. So So anything, okay, anything with any failure in any one of them, you should, if they actually have a failure, refer for formal audiometry testing. And if they do not get any failures of this, you still have to qualify that a mild hearing impairment may be missed. All right? And if there's any other problems, to consult a specialist. This is to cover yourself in case they have a mild hearing loss and an acoustic neuroma or tumor, right? Right? So you have to qualify yourself. In any screening protocols, you have to qualify. The treatment options, very briefly, hearing aids. Hearing aids can be used to treat many types of hearing loss, whether it's conductive, whether it's a sensory neural, and it can be used to treat from mild to severe hearing loss. The hearing aids, some are behind the ear, some are totally in the ear canal, and of course everybody wants a totally in the ear canal. But the problem is that the totally in the ear canal is very, very small. Elderly with very arthritic hands and all that do not work well with those. And if they do not see well and they do not work well with this, it rolls into the drain and then it's $6,000. Okay, so it's a problem. Yeah. So actually what is better for the older adults is something behind the ear. So I think I've said this before. They're sick of hearing this, but it would be nice if we can change perceptions, right? Wearing an eyeglass, people wear eyeglasses even if they do not need one, right? It's for fashion, right? So we should encourage, right, that everybody should wear something, and then they can tailor it. They can tailor it to whatever they want it to. So the children nowadays are great. The children are very happy to wear that because they don't understand what stigma is yet. The very young children, they choose the brightest colors. They choose bright red and with tiger patterns and with spots and all that. Okay, and if more adults start doing that, then it would not be thought of as a stigma. Okay, and there would be very good uptake of this. So hearing aids is important, and it's very. I always encourage this as first line because there's no surgery needed. It has gotten very bad names sometimes because I think of providers not trying to fit the correct aids. Okay, maybe some may try to sell the more expensive aids, or they may not do a proper hearing test, and so the aids are not suitable. Okay, or they may not maintain. Maybe the battery is failing. Maybe the ear canal shape has changed. Maybe there's an infection going on and it's not treated. So of course the hearing aid does not work, and that is the thing that gives the hearing aid a bad name. Okay, and your hearing test must be repeated every year. It is not it's a dynamic thing. It's not static. So if you actually do not work very well with hearing aids, you may need surgery. And some patients actually go for implants because if you note there's nothing in the ear canal. The hearing aid, you need a ear hole in the ear canal, and that can be very uncomfortable if you wear it for long periods of time. Or some people have skin irritations which do not allow that. And also because the hearing aid that's in the ear canal is by an amplifier, like a speaker, trying a loudspeaker into your ear, right? So that can be quite uncomfortable with feedback and all that. But with a middle ear implant, it is trying to actually recreate the normal way of transmission of hearing. So there is a little vibrating processes that go in the middle ear on the incus that you surgically put, and then when the sound comes, it's actually goes through that processor outside. That can be taken out, yeah. That can be, the processor is by a magnetic attraction to something I've implanted under the skull. So that when you want to bathe, you want to sleep, you can take it out. It's actually quite easily hidden by hair, just here, right? If we are losing hair, it's fine. We just show it, right? Okay. So that is a normal chain of hearing, and that's why the fidelity of the sound is a lot better. And I have patients now coming to me for totally middle ear implantable middle ear implants, and of course I do not encourage this as first line because why? Totally implantable means what is the catch here? The battery is also under the skin, right? So what is nice about this is that my patient tells me they forget that they have a hearing loss, which is a great thing, which is really nice to hear, because there's nothing on the head. You can play golf or go play whatever, swimming. You can swim. Usually with a hearing aid you can't swim. You can bathe with this. You can sleep at night and still be hearing, right? For hearing aid, you need to take it out. And so they tell me they really like this, and for the women sometimes and some men in very high level jobs, they really want cosmesis. It's very important to them. But the caveat is that okay, the battery is under the skin. So after 15 years, you have to change the battery. I do not need to take out this whole implant, but I need to make a small nick and actually remove the battery. And you have to charge this. It's a rechargeable battery. Alright? Thank God for rechargeable batteries. So, rechargeable battery, it's not solar powered. You know, somebody asked me, why can't you that doesn't need to be charged? And I told them, you can. If it's solar powered, you may be burnt. You may be burnt although you're charged. Okay, so you have to charge this every 3 days. You have to charge it for about an hour. And of course, why I try to discourage implants if possible is that if they fail, yeah, there's always a failure rate, right? It's very low. The failure rate is very, very low, but still, it's like a car. It can fail. Okay, thank you very much. Right, sorry, very sorry. Okay, so there's a cochlear implant. The last implant is actually a cochlear implant for patients with severe hearing loss. So the middle ear implants can only be used till about 70% of hearing loss. There's about 90% you need a cochlear implant. So the electrode actually goes into the cochlea, right, of the ear, and that's another type of implant. Okay, thank you very much.